and welcome to another episode of JMB Writing for the Brand Podcast. My name is Sonia Murphy, and I have Sydney Fletcher, our Director of Safety, here with us. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, so I just wanted to find out a little bit of information from you. How long have you been in the trucking industry?
This month, April, is my 40th year.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Holy cow, that is so awesome. It's not very often you get to meet folks that have been in the industry this long. That's
a long time.
Yeah, but that's so awesome. I bet you have seen and heard all kinds of stuff and the changes that's occurred over all the time.
Yes, that's the biggest thing is the changes.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like it was yesterday, and then all of a sudden it's 40 years later. And if you stop and really think about what's happened in 40 years in the trucking industry, it's amazing. And it's overwhelming sometimes, especially now with technology the way it is. It changes more frequently and at a faster pace.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can imagine. So what made you initially get into the trucking industry?
Just a stroke of luck. I just answered an ad. I needed a job. I was a senior in high school checking groceries at a grocery store. And back in that day, you know, having an office job was like the deal. And so I answered an ad for a receptionist. And it happened to be with a trucking company called Container Carrier Corporation in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They were a division of Arkansas Best Corporation.
Okay.
That's how I started, just answering the switchboard.
And then you moved up from there. How'd you move up? Did you move up with that company, or was it with a different carrier?
I did. We had a sister company called Tri-State Lines, and they bought us out, or they merged us together. Mm-hmm. And they already had a switchboard operator, so they put me in the log department. And so I started auditing logs, paper logs.
Oh, wow. I remember those days.
With actual fuel receipts. And
wow.
Yeah, that part has really changed.
Yes, I can imagine so.
So, yeah, that's how it got started. And then just with a couple of personal moves, I had the great privilege of being a safety director for Ashley Transport out of Crossett, Arkansas for 8 years. And that's where I gained my most knowledge of safety and compliance, and just moved up from there.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. And you work for a lot of, or not a lot, but a few mom and pop type places, right?
Yes. Ashley Transport being one.
Okay.
That was owned by Doug and Joyce Reed.
I remember you telling me about the Reeds.
Yes, they. I couldn't have made it in life, probably more or less in trucking without them. And then I had the great opportunity to work for Mr. Harold Ives.
Yes.
Out of Stuttgart, and I worked North Little Rock Terminal. He passed away, I think, just last year.
Oh, goodness.
And J.M. Bozeman is kind of remnants of that. Harold's logo was a cowboy hat and a rope, and it was very farm ranch theme to it, and it just felt homey.
Yeah.
And so in there, I also did compliance and things like that. And then the McNeil Trucking, that was a family-owned company.
Oh, wow.
And then they were bought out by Pound Transport, and I worked for them for 13 years in their North Little Rock office. And then, fortunately for me, Kurt Rosa, who was our vice president, who has passed away, called me one day and said, "How would you like to come work at J.M. Bozeman?" And oddly enough, had not ever heard of J.M. Bozeman.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so
kind
cool.
of funny. And so I love it, yeah. So
and
now I'm here.
And you've been here for how long?
10 years in June.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, love it.
That is awesome. Well, so what would you say your original career choice was? Like, before you ever got into trucking, like when you was a little girl, what did you ever think you was going to do?
I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Oh, I knew it. I knew that was coming.
That was my dream. My dream.
Oh, my
I still
goodness.
have my megaphone and pom-poms from when I was a cheerleader. Seriously, my megaphone, it's huge, and it has Cindy on it, and my pom-poms. And some cheerleading outfits, which obviously I cannot wear now. But
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is so cool.
I just thought that was everything.
Oh yeah, wow.
And I guess I'm kind of a cheerleader now.
You still are. You do.
For our drivers, I try.
Yes, you do. Yes, and your little random cheers that you do periodically.
I do.
Yes.
I break out into cheers sometimes in the office.
Yes, it's a hoot. It's so funny to see them.
Maybe that's why, too, I parlay football into safety all the time.
I don't know, but I've never met anybody that talks about football and makes it work into the trucking industry more than you. So what would you say to new drivers looking to get into the industry? Well, drivers or office people, because when you hired me, I was also kind of the same boat. I didn't have a lick of trucking knowledge. You know, I not answered an ad, but I was told about Bozeman, and you know, I've known about this company for years. But
Right.
what would you say to people trying to get into the industry? Like your advice for them?
My number one advice would be transparent, be real. Don't
Okay.
be fake.
Okay.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And in the trucking industry, especially with what, we're expedited carrier, time is very important.
Right.
So I would say be transparent, be real. I would say, especially to drivers, if you doubt it, don't do it.
Right.
Make
yeah.
good choices. And patience, especially for drivers, to be patient and to understand, too, as far as trucking is, there always seems to be I don't want to say a division, that might be a bad word, but for drivers being out on the road, they don't feel like a part. We all do because we're around each other in the
Right.
office. And so it's always been real important to me that either that people in the office and shop and the drivers all understand we're co-workers.
Right.
It's not office shop and drivers. We're co-workers. And so you'll see my fleet messages a lot of time. I'll say JMB Bozeman employees.
Yes.
Because it's not just drivers and office shop. We're all employees. We're all co-workers. And we all have a main goal to keep this a successful company that it is.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's important. And, one of Michael Barr's biggest things, he says, treat people the way you want to be treated. We're not always spot on, but at the end of the day, if I have a clear conscience of a decision that I've made, then I feel good about that day.
Right.
And I try to treat people how I would want to be treated in situations. That's why I'm very transparent and blunt. Some people, it can come off as harsh, but I would rather know the truth, things be blunt, and be able to deal with it.
Right.
Instead of it being, that's why I can't be in customer service. See, I could never, I have done that before, but I couldn't do it because if FedEx said, your load's not on time, what happened? And, we tell them, oh, well, we got behind an accident, and then we get in trouble for it. I'd be like, well, what do you want me to do? Put the load on my back and walk it up there? You know what I'm saying? So, then they would call Michael and be like, she just said that, what did I want her to do? Put the load on her back and carry it up there. Yeah, I'd probably get in trouble. Yeah, I would not probably be a good salesperson. I might be too blunt.
Well, no, but, something I always talk to the new potential drivers about is, your view as a director of safety and how you tell drivers, if you do not feel safe to drive, do not do it. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of drivers out there whose companies will tell, push them, make them feel like they have no choice but to continue on with the, damaged equipment, damaged load, weather, illness, whatever. And so I tell them, our director of safety will back you up 110%. And they're really surprised about that. And that's something that I really take pride in, is knowing that I can 100% tell them, yes, you will support them, whatever decision, that they make pertaining to how they feel, what the situation is.
Well, I'll tell you, first, I give tons of credit to our operations group. They care about safety just like I do, just like our owner Michael does. It's the conscience of the company.
Right.
I say that a lot.
Yes.
But what I tell drivers that come to the orientation, when I'm doing my orientation, I say, listen, you have 14 hours to work a day, and of that, you've got 11 to drive. That's your responsibility. After that, it's up to operations to determine what's going to happen with that load.
Right.
And fortunately, Stephen and Danny and Caleb and all the fleet managers, everyone understands that, and it's not an issue for us. They work really well with us. They want to be safe and compliant, and I tell you what, that's a blessing, because I've worked at companies where it wasn't like that. You had the pull and tug between safety and operations, and so really it makes my job wonderful and easy that I can walk in Danny's office and he's like, hey, right on, and we both understand it.
No.
So that's the main thing. And I tell the drivers in orientation that, this might be a bit bold, what I'm about to say, but I tell them this. I tell them that they are the only people in this company who have the authority to determine if they or that truck is safe to be on the road.
Yes.
I can't do that. No one can say, hey, you're safe to be on the road if they say they're not.
Right.
And that's just how it has to be.
Right.
And we hire experienced drivers that know the rules. They, know what the regulations are. They've been here, done this. They know when they're safe and when they're not. And we have to trust them to do that. That's their job. And if they don't, then we hold them accountable. And, I always say I don't like the term disciplinary action. I don't like that term. I like holding people accountable is what's important.
Right.
Across the board.
Yep. Well, I really appreciate your time today.
Well, sure.
You have been so informative and awesome. And, we look forward to hopefully having you on the podcast again someday.
I appreciate it. One other thing I say to drivers is 88.88% of everything I've learned in trucking over these 40 years has been from the drivers.
Oh, that is true. You told me that like my first day here.
Yeah.
You sure did.
Maybe not them walking in and listing these things that I have to know, but just from working with them, I give so much credit to the drivers, and I really care about them, and but they gave me my living.
Yes. What was that phrase you would say? Truck drivers are the ones who put food in our tables.
That's right. They do.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. I'm pushing papers.
Oh.
They're running wheels. Okay?
Yes.
That's the difference. And I appreciate them very, very much. They're my heart.
Yes. No, we can definitely tell. Well, again, thank you for your time today. We look forward to having you on again. If y'all have any topics or anything you would like to discuss, please send them in. Comment below. Let us know. Thank y'all. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.